Imagine someone thinking about you endlessly, without even knowing why. Every thought they have, every small decision, bends subtly around your presence. They can't control it, and they don't even realize it's happening. Their mind is no longer their own. Obsession is not born from giving. It's born from withholding. A delayed response, a lingering glance, a silence that stretches just long enough to be noticed. Uncertainty sparks desire. Curiosity claws at them, dragging their thoughts back to you over and over. You do not chase. You do not explain. You do not reveal too much. Instead, you leave fragments behind, moments that are intense, fleeting, unforgettable. They replay these fragments endlessly, searching for patterns, meaning, a reason to decode you. They never find it because you are not meant to be solved. Mirrors can be powerful. Reflect their desires, but only partially. Show them glimpses of who they wish to be when they are around you, but never enough to make them think they truly understand. This subtle reflection hooks their mind, turning fascination into obsession. Obsession thrives on unpredictability. Be present, then absent. Give warmth, then distance. Offer connection, then vanish. Their brain becomes a maze of your making, a puzzle they cannot leave unsolved. Every attempt to regain certainty fails, and they begin to crave what they cannot have. You are no longer just a person to them. You are a force, a story, a presence they cannot escape. They think they are chasing you, but in reality, they are chasing a version of themselves only unlocked through you. And the more they chase, the stronger their obsession becomes. Obsession, control, not love. Obsession isn't love. It isn't admiration. It is something far more powerful, control. Machiavelli, though he never used the word obsession, described it in ways that echo through history. Men, he observed, are driven by two forces, love and fear. But obsession is deeper, more subtle. It doesn't merely attract, it rearranges. When someone becomes obsessed with you, their life doesn't just include you, it bends around you. Their thoughts replay your words. Their choices align with what they imagine you value. And even their habits shift imperceptibly to match your rhythm. They wake thinking about you, plan subconsciously for your approval, and weigh their decisions against an invisible standard you have set without a word. The mind craves answers, yet obsession thrives in the tension of uncertainty. A single glance, a slight smile, or a moment of indifference becomes a puzzle their brain cannot resist solving. Every day, every interaction reinforces your presence not by force but by making your absence noticeable, your attention precious, your approval valuable. People don't just like those they are obsessed with. They rearrange their internal world around them. Every word you speak, every gesture you make becomes a point of reference for them. They try to decode your intentions, your mood, your desires, and the more elusive you are, the stronger the pull. Obsession is control disguised as attraction. It creates a mental environment where you are the center, even if physically absent. They think they seek you, but in truth, they seek the emotional alignment you provide, the subtle acknowledgement that their existence matters to your perception. It's the most magnetic form of influence because it doesn't command. It simply reorients reality so that they are drawn into a world where your presence dominates their thoughts, their feelings, and ultimately their actions. This is not love. This is power, exercised invisibly yet completely. Obsession sparked by what you withhold. Obsession doesn't bloom from abundance. It thrives in scarcity. The more you give, the less they chase. The more available you are, the faster curiosity dies. Machiavelli understood this intuitively. People are drawn not to what is easily possessed, but to what is earned, coveted, and uncertain. Presence without friction creates comfort. Comfort is the enemy of desire. Obsession begins the moment they can't predict you, the moment they feel the subtle tug of uncertainty, the gap between what they think they know and what they actually understand. Do not flood your life, your attention, or your emotions. Every message sent immediately, every glance returned predictably, every reassurance freely given, diminishes the spark. Instead, withhold. Let them wonder. Let them question. Let them feel the absence of certainty like a physical ache. Their mind will race to fill the void. They will analyze your every word, your tone, your gestures. Every delay, every subtle retreat becomes a puzzle they cannot stop trying to solve. They begin to rearrange their own thoughts around the gaps you leave. Your absence becomes a magnet, pulling their focus inward, toward you, toward what you represent, a force beyond their control, a mystery beyond their understanding. What you give too freely loses value. What you withhold creates longing. The power isn't in the attention you grant. It's in the question you leave unanswered. When they can't be sure if you admire, tolerate, or ignore them, their brain is trapped in a loop of speculation. They will crave that certainty. They will chase the signals they think you have sent. And in that chase, you no longer just influence, they become psychologically invested in your presence and absence alike. Obsession is born not from what they receive, but from what they cannot grasp. By withholding, you create an invisible chain. Invisible, irresistible, unavoidable. It is in that carefully cultivated uncertainty that you become unforgettable, inescapable, and essential. Unpredictability creates obsession. Obsession thrives on uncertainty. Predictability is the silent killer of desire. When someone can anticipate your reactions, your words, your moods, the fire dims. Machiavelli understood that human nature craves puzzles, and nothing hooks the mind like a mystery it cannot solve. Unpredictability transforms attraction into obsession. It keeps their thoughts occupied, their emotions in flux, and their attention constantly returning to you, searching for a pattern that doesn't fully exist. Give mixed signals strategically. Show warmth in one moment, then distance in the next. Smile and engage deeply, then withdraw subtly. Let them question whether your last glance reflected passion or calculation, curiosity or indifference. Their brain hates ambiguity, but it cannot resist it. Each pause, each delayed response, each contradiction in your behavior becomes a puzzle piece they desperately try to fit together. They analyze every interaction, replay every conversation, and dissect every tone because the unknown is irresistible. The more unpredictable you are, the stronger the magnetic pull. True unpredictability isn't random. It's calculated chaos. You are not cruel but elusive. You give enough signals to maintain interest, enough warmth to spark hope, but never enough certainty to provide comfort. Silence becomes a tool. Pauses become weapons. Leaving questions unanswered isn't neglect. It's the art of emotional chess. Every minor retreat forces them to engage mentally, emotionally, and imaginatively. They start to create scenarios, imagine motives, and project desires onto you. Their obsession is no longer about you, it's about deciphering you. In unpredictability, you become more than a person. You become a force they cannot tame, a presence that lingers even in your absence. The brain's need for resolution traps them in a loop of curiosity and longing. Obsession is no longer optional. It is inevitable. By refusing to be predictable, you don't just capture attention. You capture the mind, the imagination, and the emotions of another. They begin to live in your uncertainty, and that is the truest form of control. Strategic reflection, mirror them, but in fragments. Obsession deepens when you make someone feel seen, yet never fully understood. Strategic reflection is the art of showing someone exactly what they want to see, but only in fragments. You don't hand them the complete picture of yourself. You give glimpses, flashes, and controlled doses of emotion, ambition, intensity, and vulnerability. The goal is simple: make them think, "This person understands me," while ensuring they can never claim to fully know you. Vulnerability should be measured. Show a flicker of your fears or insecurities, then mask it with humor or confidence. Reveal ambition, but never your entire plan. Offer intensity, but retreat into calm coldness before it overwhelms. Each partial revelation triggers their mind to fill the gaps, making them engage mentally and emotionally. The brain becomes addicted to the chase because it cannot solve a puzzle that is intentionally incomplete. This is not manipulation. It is psychological strategy rooted in human nature. People naturally project their desires onto others. By revealing fragments, you allow them to project, imagine, and create a version of you that aligns with their longing. They chase the parts you've shown, trying to uncover the hidden layers, attempting to decode the full truth, which will never be fully revealed. This creates a constant mental loop of anticipation and obsession. Fractured reflection also amplifies emotional investment. They begin to notice patterns, interpret signals, and analyze your actions. Each small insight they gain feels like a victory, yet the bigger picture remains elusive. This keeps them mentally engaged and emotionally tethered to you. You become a mirror for their desires, but a mirror that always distorts just enough to maintain intrigue. By reflecting strategically, you transform interactions into psychological hooks. They crave your approval, chase your attention, and interpret your actions endlessly. Strategic reflection ensures that obsession is no longer optional. It is inevitable. You are not just in their thoughts, you are in their imagination, their emotional calculations, and their desires. You become the puzzle they cannot stop solving. Intermittent reinforcement. Dopamine loop obsession reaches its peak when unpredictability becomes the fuel for desire. Intermittent reinforcement is the psychological strategy that keeps someone hooked, similar to a gambler obsessively pulling the lever of a slot machine, never knowing when the next reward will arrive. The key is simple: give them warmth, praise, and attention, but only intermittently. Then withdraw. Give silence, uncertainty, or mild criticism at irregular intervals. This unpredictability hijacks their brain's dopamine system, creating a loop of craving and anticipation. Humans are wired to seek patterns, yet when rewards are inconsistent, the mind becomes restless, constantly trying to predict what comes next. They analyze your words, actions, and tone, replaying moments over and over, hoping for clarity. Every small interaction feels like a potential victory, every delayed response a puzzle to solve. This uncertainty intensifies emotional attachment and keeps them mentally and emotionally invested. They aren't just thinking about you. They are thinking about the next interaction, the next piece of validation, the next signal that they are still important in your orbit. Intermittent reinforcement is subtle, but it creates a deep, almost addictive dependence. You're not offering consistent love or affection. You are offering hope, and hope is far more compelling than certainty. It pulls them back again and again, long after the initial interaction, because the brain equates unpredictability with challenge and challenge with value. They begin to equate your presence with reward and your absence with a loss, creating emotional tension that deepens obsession. Mastery of this principle requires restraint. Never reward every gesture, never respond immediately every time, and never reveal all your attention at once. Each calculated pause, each slight withdrawal makes the moments of connection feel electric. Your unpredictability transforms ordinary interactions into emotional highs, your silence into magnetic tension. They chase not just your attention, but the emotional satisfaction they crave, forming a mental loop where you are the center of their anticipation, desire, and fixation. Pain and healing trap. True obsession is often rooted not in pleasure, but in the subtle manipulation of pain and healing. People carry invisible wounds, abandonment, rejection, insecurity, that they hide even from themselves. They search for relief, for someone who seems to understand without judgment. This is where you step in, not as a savior, but as the quiet architect of emotional dependence. You don't fix their wounds. You acknowledge them. You listen, truly listen, without rushing to correct or advise. In doing so, you become the rare figure who makes them feel seen, understood, and strangely safe. The human mind becomes addicted to relief from pain, even if that relief is intermittent. When someone experiences your presence as a source of comfort, they start associating you with healing. You are not offering constant affection or answers. You are offering glimpses of emotional reprieve, moments where their anxieties soften, their fears feel lighter, and their internal chaos seems manageable. Each encounter leaves them craving that sense of solace again, making your presence irresistible. Over time, this creates a dependency that is more profound than mere attraction. They don't just want to be around you, they need to be around you to feel whole. This strategy is subtle and deliberate. You never force attachment. You create the illusion that it develops naturally, that they are choosing you. You selectively provide the relief they crave, withholding it just enough to make the moments you do offer it feel sacred. Absence amplifies the effect, turning each interaction into a potent emotional experience. They begin to chase not the person you are, but the version of themselves that only emerges in your presence. The pain and healing trap is the foundation for deep, lasting obsession. By becoming the source of emotional relief without becoming predictable or fully available, you embed yourself into their psyche. Their need for you grows silently, inexorably, until the idea of losing you feels like losing a part of themselves. They are not merely drawn to you, they are drawn to the power you give them over their own inner turmoil. Absence. Presence. Absence is more powerful than presence when it comes to creating true obsession. People naturally crave what they cannot have, and predictability is the enemy of desire. The human mind thrives on mystery. on questions that remain unanswered, on the tension between expectation and reality. When you are constantly available, constantly giving, you create comfort, and comfort breeds boredom. Curiosity fades, interest wanes, and the spark of obsession dies. To keep someone captivated, you must let your absence speak louder than your presence. This doesn't mean disappearing entirely or playing childish games. It's a subtle art of controlled withdrawal. You step back at precise moments, leaving space for their mind to wander, leaving gaps that they feel compelled to fill with thoughts of you. Silence becomes your tool. A delayed response, a brief unavailability, a quiet exit during an emotionally charged conversation. Each creates a vacuum that your target instinctively wants to resolve. They start analyzing your behavior, replaying your words, dissecting every glance or gesture. Their mind loops endlessly, trying to decode you, trying to predict you, trying desperately to grasp what is just out of reach. Unpredictability is key. One day you are warm, playful, and engaging. The next you are distant, composed, and untouchable. Contradictions between coldness and intimacy, availability and withdrawal, excitement and calmness keep them on edge. They don't just notice the shifts, they obsess over them. The chase is ignited not by what you give, but by what you strategically withhold. Each interaction becomes a puzzle they are desperate to solve, and you remain the enigmatic answer. Absence magnifies presence. When you finally reappear, your return feels amplified. Your attention feels like a reward earned, not a right. They don't just appreciate you, they crave you. They chase the emotional highs you provide and fear the lows your absence creates. Obsession thrives in the tension between being seen and being missed. Master this balance and your presence becomes legendary, your absence haunting and your influence irresistible. Timing control. Timing is the invisible thread that weaves obsession into someone's mind. It's not just what you do or say, but precisely when you choose to do it. The greatest manipulators, the masters of influence, understood that control over timing can make you indispensable without ever demanding it. Your appearances and disappearances, your engagement and silence, your attention and withdrawal, all of it becomes a dance that keeps them captivated, always guessing, always seeking. The secret is to create tension at the peaks of emotion. Never leave them feeling fully satisfied. Leave them hanging. A conversation should end when it's at its most intriguing point, not when it's convenient. Send a message that makes them feel seen, understood, or emotionally stimulated, and then vanish for hours. Let their mind replay your words, analyze your tone, and wonder what you're thinking. That uncertainty becomes an obsession. Exit strategically at emotional peaks. After a laugh shared, a compliment given, or an intimate disclosure, step back slightly. Their mind equates your withdrawal with value, with scarcity. They begin to chase the emotional highs you've created because they are addicted to the unpredictable rhythm you control. If you return too soon, too consistently, the effect diminishes. Timing is your invisible lever. It allows you to shape not just their attention, but their desire. Each carefully measured appearance magnifies your presence. Each calculated absence fuels longing. Even mundane interactions become charged when timing is controlled. Respond a little late, but not too late. Show interest, then subtly pull away. Leave a question unanswered. Your unpredictability becomes the puzzle their mind cannot resist solving. Timing teaches them to prioritize you, to crave your approval, and to obsess over the patterns they cannot fully understand. When executed masterfully, timing transforms a simple relationship into a psychological game where you are always several steps ahead, and they are unknowingly dancing to your rhythm. Obsession isn't forced. It's engineered through the art of presence and absence, perfectly timed. Advanced mirroring. Advanced mirroring is far more than copying body language or repeating words. True mirroring is psychological. It reflects the inner world of the other person, but slightly distorted. You don't make them feel fully understood. You make them feel almost understood. This tiny gap, this imperfection, is what keeps them coming back, trying to correct the reflection, trying to decode the puzzle you present. When executed correctly, mirroring embeds you into their psyche, creating a subtle yet powerful obsession. You become the lens through which they perceive themselves, the person who validates feelings they couldn't articulate, the presence that confirms what they've always suspected about their own desires. The power of mirroring lies in controlled revelation. You show them fragments of their own world, their own thoughts, reflected back in a way that makes them feel seen, but never fully known. They notice that you get them in ways no one else does, but the incomplete understanding keeps them chasing more. You mirror ambition, but only in bursts. You mirror vulnerability, but only a flicker before hiding behind charm or humor. You mirror intensity, but retreat into calm coldness when they lean in too close. This constant oscillation forces their mind to remain engaged, to constantly reassess, to remain invested in decoding you. Mirroring also subtly plants ideas and emotions in their mind. When you reflect them just slightly off, they believe it is their own thought, their own realization. You are guiding them invisibly, planting seeds of admiration, desire, and curiosity while maintaining control. They will talk, think, and even act in ways that align with the image you've subtly projected, because they are attempting to reconcile their inner world with the reflection you've provided. True advanced mirroring is artful, invisible, and relentless. It is not imitation, it is influence. It turns casual attraction into mental dependency, interest into compulsion. Their mind becomes a mirror to yours, endlessly replaying the fragments you show, craving the next reflection, and forever haunted by the incomplete picture. The more you reveal, the less they understand. The less they understand, the more they obsess. Scarcity. Worship. Scarcity is the secret weapon of influence, the unspoken rule that transforms attention into obsession. People naturally worship what is rare, elusive, and difficult to obtain. In the realm of obsession, abundance kills desire. If you're always available, always accessible, always predictable, you become ordinary. Your presence becomes expected, mundane, and unremarkable. True power lies in making yourself scarce, in controlling access to your time, your attention, your thoughts, and your approval. When someone realizes that every interaction with you must be earned, every conversation is a privilege, and every word carries weight, they begin to value you far beyond your physical presence. Scarcity is not about cruelty. It's about strategic elevation. You never need to explain yourself or justify your absence. You simply withhold in subtle and calculated ways, creating a vacuum in their mind that they cannot ignore. This vacuum fuels their imagination, their longing, and their obsession. They begin to replay every interaction, analyzing tone, timing, and choice of words. They remember small gestures, laugh at inside jokes, and obsess over the moments when your attention fell upon them. They become aware that your time is precious, and in that realization, they assign it immeasurable value. Control your availability, but always appear selective. Appear fully engaged in brief moments, then retreat without notice. Let them earn every smile, every word, every hint of your interest. Your rarity becomes a magnet. The brain craves what it cannot constantly access, and scarcity turns desire into compulsion. Machiavelli understood that human admiration is strongest when it must be earned. People don't fall in love with someone endlessly available. They fall in love with the idea of being chosen by someone rare, someone who doesn't hand themselves over freely. Scarcity is not absence alone. It is calculated value, the art of making your presence matter more than any words, gestures, or promises ever could. Obsession grows where access is limited, because humans chase what they cannot fully grasp. To make someone worship you, become rare in every way possible: time, attention, approval, and energy. They will chase you, think about you, and invest in you endlessly, all without a single demand from your side. Anchors in their subconscious. To truly embed yourself in someone's mind, you must move beyond the surface of interaction and step into their subconscious. Humans are deeply influenced by sensory triggers, subtle cues that evoke memory, emotion, and longing. A word, a gesture, a tone, or even a smell can anchor a person's mind to you without their conscious awareness. These are the silent levers of obsession. They are the reason why a single phrase can replay in someone's thoughts for hours, why a brief smile can haunt their imagination long after you've left, and why certain places or objects can instantly evoke memories of you. You are no longer merely present in their life. You become a permanent imprint in their psyche. Every interaction, no matter how small, can plant a subconscious anchor. Use your voice deliberately. Its cadence, softness, and intensity become associated with attention, warmth, or authority. A signature gesture, even something as minor as the way you tilt your head or laugh, can be memorized unconsciously and tied to feelings of desire, admiration, or intrigue. Shared experiences, places you visit together, music you listen to, phrases only you use, become mental bookmarks that your presence now occupies permanently. They begin seeing and hearing you even in moments when you are absent. The power of subconscious anchors lies in their invisibility. The person does not actively realize that their feelings and thoughts are being subtly guided. You are not forcing attention. You are cultivating mental associations that make them think of you involuntarily. Every time they encounter one of these triggers, dopamine sparks, reinforcing your presence in their mind and deepening obsession. Over time, these anchors accumulate into a network of influence, a constant reminder of your existence that infiltrates their daily thoughts, dreams, and decision-making. Machiavelli understood that influence extends beyond conversation. It lives in memory, emotion, and perception. By strategically planting sensory anchors, you move from being just a person to being an inescapable presence, a figure who haunts their consciousness. You no longer need to chase attention. They subconsciously seek you out. Obsession thrives when your existence is felt in every corner of their mind, long before your words or actions arrive. Identity, fusion. To deepen obsession, you must move beyond mere presence and become intertwined with someone's very sense of self. Identity fusion is the process of subtly assigning them a special role, a unique title, or a distinct identity that exists only through their connection to you. When someone feels that you recognize an exceptional version of themselves, one that no one else sees, they begin to anchor their self-worth, pride, and confidence to your perception. This is not about flattery or superficial praise. It is about making them believe they are powerful, understood, and complete in ways that only you can provide. You are no longer just a companion or acquaintance. You are the mirror through which they perceive their best self. Once you fuse their identity with your presence, they start protecting it with unconscious loyalty. Every interaction becomes more than a conversation. It is a chance to reinforce their version of themselves that exists only in your eyes. They start acting to maintain the approval and validation you represent, aligning their choices, ambitions, and behaviors to the subtle cues you provide. The obsession is no longer about you personally. It is about protecting the self-image they now associate with you. They fear losing you not because of attachment alone, but because losing you would mean losing the version of themselves that you have illuminated. This technique is profoundly psychological. It taps into the innate human desire to be valued, understood, and exceptional. By consistently reflecting back the traits you want them to adopt, and by selectively withdrawing attention or approval, you make them actively work to preserve the identity you've shaped in them. Every action they take, every thought they dwell on, begins to orbit your influence. They internalize your standards and make your expectations their own goals. Machiavelli mastered this principle by embedding himself in the minds of leaders and advisors, not through direct control, but by shaping how they saw themselves in his presence. Today, when applied subtly, identity fusion ensures that your influence transcends mere attraction. You are no longer a person to be followed. You are the anchor of their self-concept, the essential force around which their decisions, ambitions, and loyalties revolve. Obsession solidifies because they are not just drawn to you. They are drawn to the person they become when they exist through your gaze. Secret's Vault Strategy. To cultivate true obsession, you must become the keeper of their deepest vulnerabilities, the silent witness to their private world. Secret's Vault Strategy is about holding their confessions, fears, and shame without judgment, without interruption, and without the need to act. When someone entrusts you with their inner wounds, they are implicitly surrendering a part of themselves. Your silence, your calm reception, and your unwavering discretion turn you into a sanctuary, a safe harbor in a world that has often been cruel, critical, or indifferent. This is not about manipulation in the obvious sense. It is about creating a sacred space where they feel genuinely understood. Once they sense this level of trust, obsession starts to germinate organically, like a seed planted in fertile soil. The psychological effect is profound. Humans are wired to form strong attachments to those who make them feel secure, particularly when the security is linked to their most fragile aspects. By holding their secrets, you establish a form of power that is invisible yet absolute. They begin to fear the loss of this safety, the loss of the person who does not judge, who does not critique, who does not betray. That fear converts into attachment, and attachment, when carefully maintained, blossoms into obsession. They begin to weave you into their identity as the only one capable of understanding or validating their hidden world. The vault strategy also relies on restraint. You never exploit their trust, never push for more than they voluntarily offer, and never react dramatically. This measured approach amplifies your influence. They perceive you as rare, reliable, and essential. Even subtle withdrawals, pausing a conversation or creating brief strategic distance magnify the value of your presence. Their mind becomes attuned to your availability, their thoughts circling back to you constantly, wondering when, how, or if they will again find that rare, non-judgmental attention. Machiavelli understood that control often comes not through force, but through the perception of indispensability. By becoming the silent vault of someone's most personal truths, you transcend ordinary influence. They do not merely want your company, they crave the reassurance, the validation, and the understanding that only you can provide. The attachment becomes inseparable from their emotional survival. Obsession rooted in secrets is subtle, invisible to the untrained eye, but incredibly potent. You are no longer just a figure in their life, you are the guardian of their private universe. Memory reframing and myth building. To truly deepen obsession, you must master the art of memory reframing and myth building. Humans are not only influenced by what happens in the present, they are shaped by the stories they tell themselves about the past. Every shared moment, every conversation, every interaction can be subtly reframed to enhance your influence. You become the editor of their emotional narrative. A glance, a phrase, or an event can be imbued with significance even if its original meaning was neutral or minor. They will begin to remember moments the way you wish them to, linking emotions and experiences to you in ways that strengthen attachment and deepen their obsession. This process creates a reality in which your presence is not just remembered, it is indispensable. Myth building amplifies this effect by projecting a larger-than-life version of yourself. You do not simply exist in their world. You occupy a space between reality and imagination, talk about future plans, paint vivid possibilities, describe adventures you might take together, or hint at experiences that are yet to come. Leave these stories unfinished, suspended in uncertainty. Humans are wired to chase unresolved narratives, and when you craft a mythology around your persona, they are irresistibly drawn back, seeking closure that never fully arrives. They begin to measure their life and their decisions against this imagined version of you, feeling both inspired and compelled to align themselves with it. The combination of reframed memories and an ongoing mythology triggers an emotional dependency. They are no longer obsessed merely with your presence. They are obsessed with the idea of you, the story you have planted in their mind. They will replay memories, analyze interactions, and reconstruct past events through the lens you have subtly guided. Each moment you leave open-ended, each memory you shade with ambiguity, intensifies their mental and emotional investment. Machiavelli understood that the mind clings to stories longer than facts. By reframing their memories and constructing a mythos around your persona, you ensure that your influence transcends time. You are no longer a person. They are drawn to the legend you have become in their mind, and obsession takes root in the fertile ground of imagination, memory, and unfulfilled potential. The past, present, and future converge in their need for you, and in that convergence, control is complete. Behavioral loyalty through standards. To cultivate true obsession, you must go beyond superficial admiration and forge behavioral loyalty. Most people confuse affection or attachment with loyalty, but genuine loyalty is not automatic. It must be earned. By establishing unspoken standards in your presence, you guide others to align their behavior with your expectations without ever explicitly telling them what to do. This is subtle control. They are not obeying you out of fear, nor following instructions. They are choosing to self-correct, reshaping their actions to match the example you silently set. You achieve this by rewarding alignment selectively. When someone demonstrates traits, behaviors, or attitudes that resonate with your values, respond with warmth, praise, or attention. But do not make this predictable. The brain is wired to seek consistency, yet thrives on intermittent rewards. By providing positive reinforcement irregularly, you create a mental loop where they constantly strive to earn your approval. They begin to anticipate your subtle cues, analyzing every word, every gesture, every tone of voice to ensure they remain in your favor. Over time, their loyalty becomes internalized. They are not following rules. They are striving to maintain a connection that has become part of their identity. Simultaneously, embody the standards you wish to instill. Emotional self-control, calm under pressure, elegance in interactions, and silent authority serve as models for behavior. When you consistently demonstrate these traits, others unconsciously adopt them. They mirror your discipline and values because they desire your acknowledgement and fear losing the privilege of your approval. You do not demand perfection or submission. You embody excellence and allow them to align with it voluntarily. The effect is profound. You create invisible laws. People begin to self-regulate, shaping their decisions and actions to reflect your standards. This is not manipulation in the traditional sense, it is strategic influence. Behavioral loyalty surpasses fleeting obsession. It transforms admiration into a deep, enduring connection where individuals willingly organize their behavior around your presence and ideals. You no longer command, they follow voluntarily, driven by a desire to remain in your orbit. Ideological obsession. True obsession is not merely emotional or physical, it can transcend into the realm of ideology, where a person becomes devoted not just to you, but to the principles, truths, and values you embody. Unlike superficial attachment, ideological obsession taps into the deeper layers of a person's identity. When you casually drop uncomfortable, challenging truths or reveal perspectives that most people avoid, you force them to confront realities they might not have considered. This is where your influence begins to shape their worldview. People are naturally drawn to those who appear unshakable, those who live by principles that require courage, intellect, and discernment. They do not merely admire you, they begin to internalize your ideas, allowing them to reshape their values, priorities, and decisions to mirror yours. The key is subtlety. You do not lecture, argue, or impose. You let your thoughts and philosophies linger in conversation, casually dropped in ways that invite reflection. Those who resonate will absorb them almost unconsciously, believing these revelations were their own insights. Over time, your principles become intertwined with their self-perception. They start thinking, I see the world as they see it. I value what they value. I act as they act. Obsession is no longer about you as a person, it is about becoming an extension of the ideology you represent. This type of influence is enduring because it is not dependent on your constant presence. Even when you are absent, your principles guide their behavior. Every decision, every moral judgment, every sense of right and wrong becomes subtly aligned with your worldview. They are no longer simply drawn to your personality, they are captivated by the reflection of themselves through your lens. They want to prove themselves worthy of the values and beliefs you embody. Ideological obsession creates a profound, almost inescapable connection. You do not demand loyalty, you inspire it. People become dedicated to living up to the standards you silently set, internalizing your philosophy as if it were their own. By influencing minds at the level of belief and identity, you achieve a form of control far deeper than mere desire, a lasting, structural obsession that shapes how they act, think, and perceive the world long after you are gone. Planting seeds of ideas. True influence is not about forcing people to act. It is about guiding them to act as if the choices were entirely their own. This is the essence of planting seeds of ideas. You do not tell someone what to think or how to feel. Instead, you introduce concepts subtly, strategically embedding them in their mind so that they begin to germinate on their own. This is the art of control without resistance, the quiet power of suggestion, and the most effective form of obsession. When someone believes they have arrived at a thought themselves, they become emotionally and mentally invested in it. Your influence becomes internalized. They no longer see it as your idea, yet it is completely aligned with your vision. To master this, timing and framing are everything. You drop hints in conversation, casually mention examples that mirror your perspective, or pose questions that guide them toward your conclusion. Each suggestion is small, almost imperceptible, yet cumulative. Over time, these small seeds grow into deeply rooted beliefs and habits. The person starts to align their decisions, actions, and even values with the trajectory you have subtly designed. They feel clever, empowered, and autonomous, not realizing that you orchestrated the path. This creates a self-reinforcing loop, where your ideas are validated because they feel self-derived, strengthening both the attachment and the obsession. The beauty of this technique is that it bypasses resistance. When people are forced, they push back. When they discover the path themselves, they follow it passionately, often more loyal and committed than if it had been imposed. Over time, this approach transforms mere admiration into deep-seated devotion. They begin to mirror your thinking, adopt your priorities, and internalize your ideology without conscious awareness of your influence. Planting seeds of ideas is not manipulation in its crude form. It is the art of subtle empowerment. By making others feel like architects of their own choices, you ensure that your presence, teachings, or philosophies are woven into their identity. They are obsessed not just with you, but with the reality and mindset you have nurtured within them. Your control becomes invisible, their devotion unshakable, and your influence enduring. Mythologize yourself. To reach the pinnacle of influence and obsession, you must move beyond being merely a person in someone's life. You must become a legend in their mind, a presence so powerful that they cannot ignore it, interpret it fully, or predict it. This is the art of mythologizing yourself. Machiavelli understood that fear and awe work best when the source is slightly inhuman, slightly untouchable, and above the ordinary struggles of daily life. You are no longer just a companion, friend, or lover. You are a force, a story, a symbol of aspiration and mystery. People are naturally drawn to myths. They worship what they cannot fully understand, obsess over what they cannot possess, and chase what they cannot predict. To mythologize yourself, you must embrace distance, restraint, and calculated mystery. Speak carefully, leaving gaps in your narrative that invite interpretation. Reveal enough of your character to intrigue, but never enough to be fully known. Let your actions be memorable, your words rare, and your presence impactful. Your absences should feel significant, creating emotional voids that echo in their mind long after you leave. Mystery becomes your signature. Unpredictability becomes your power. They begin to see you not just for who you are, but for the ideas, the hope, and the unattainable perfection you represent in their imagination. Additionally, allow others to participate in building your legend. Let them describe you in extreme, almost mythical terms. Do not correct them. When people defend, praise, or narrate your story to others, they are reinforcing your myth for you. You are no longer merely present. You exist as a narrative, an archetype, a haunting figure that shapes their thoughts and decisions. Every interaction, every subtle gesture, and every carefully timed withdrawal reinforces the myth. When someone perceives you as larger than life, ordinary human flaws fade and your influence becomes absolute. They chase not just your attention, but the idea of you, the power and allure that only you can evoke. By mythologizing yourself, you step into the realm of eternal obsession. You are no longer a person. They are obsessed with your legend, and legends never fade. As you've seen, obsession is not born from love, attention, or even constant presence. It's a delicate game of control, unpredictability, and influence, a science of the mind refined by those who understood power at its deepest level. Machiavelli didn't just teach strategy, he revealed the art of becoming unforgettable, of embedding yourself into someone's identity, their desires, and even their fears. When you master absence over presence, strategic reflection, intermittent reinforcement, and myth building, you move from being a person to being a presence, an idea, a force that lingers in thoughts long after you've gone. People won't just want you, they'll chase the version of themselves they see when they're with you. They'll crave your attention, interpret your silence, and protect what they believe only you can give. Remember, obsession cannot be demanded. It must be provoked. It is created in contradictions and carefully placed gaps in the tension between warmth and coldness, visibility and withdrawal. Your power grows in the subtlety of your influence, the artful manipulation of perception, and the myths you allow others to build around you. Become unforgettable. Become the question they can't solve, the presence they can't let go of, the legend that lives in their imagination long after reality fades. Obsession is not given, it is earned, one calculated step at a time.